As Health provided the update at 11 a.m, there were a dozen cases overnight in New South Wales, and the testing rates went back up to over 22,000 people being tested. So I'm deeply grateful for everybody who's come forward to get tested. It is so important for us during this stage of the pandemic to maintain high rates of testing, and Dr. Kerry Chant will reiterate that message in her advice to certain communities whom we would like to encourage to have greater levels of testing at this time. As we've been saying for some weeks, New South Wales is at a critical stage in this pandemic, as is evidenced by, unfortunately, the worsening news that was received from Victoria today. In view of the health advice, in view of the escalating situation in Victoria, the New South Wales government today has decided, based on the evolving health situation and the health advice, to ensure and require that every returning traveller from Victoria is in the mandatory 14-day hotel quarantine when they get to Sydney Airport. We are also mandating that no one can come to New South Wales outside of those border communities that's defined in the health orders, but for Sydney Airport. We don't want to see multiple places where returning travellers are coming. And we also feel, given the evolving situation in Victoria has been going on for some weeks, that people do that at their own expense. There should be no difference from a New South Wales citizen coming back from an overseas destination in terms of the costs they're having to pay versus the cost of returning travellers from Victoria. Of course, there are always exceptions to hardship if people can't afford to pay, but we will consider those. But as we've been anticipating, we anticipate that the further lockdown in both Greater Melbourne and regional Victoria will assist us in the numbers we're dealing with. In the last 7-day stats that I received, the vast majority of people that are coming through Sydney Airport from Victoria are on forward travellers that are going either interstate or overseas. But for those who are coming or returning home from Victoria from Friday morning, so from midnight Friday or Friday morning for convenience, any flights having those people will ensure that all returning travellers do that mandatory 14-day quarantine.